Hi and welcome to the Pure Energy Healing Academy. My name's Mark Majerski. I've been a crystal healer now for maybe a decade, and I work with crystals daily. There's been a really interesting message on my YouTube channel, and I'm really thankful for it because it's a subject that we really should get into, and I love it. And it's about crystals, and it's about whether crystals absorb negative energy. A great point was made by this lovely lady, and she said, I am of the belief that when you have a crystal and you're interacting with negative energy, the crystal absorbs it, and therefore you have to clean the crystal to get rid of the negative energy. Fantastic. You're so right in that sense. However, I've seen over these 10 years how crystals work, and the thoughts of what people may think because you're in a room and it's negative energy, blah, 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 and it's all going to attach. Very true, it does. Everything is made of energy. And like this crystal here, it doesn't vibrate on an energy of stone and it doesn't vibrate on an energy of water. It's somewhere in between, which is very, very different. So let's try and tackle this subject, okay? I can only explain in the only way I can, which is through my personal experience with crystals. On my wall there is a lovely lady up there called Penelope. She moved into the light a few years ago, and I was lucky enough to be her friend, and she once invited me to her home. Penelope was a baroness, but really just a normal New York lass. Great woman she was, filled with life. So I went there, and her husband was, I think, very keen. I think he was a meteorologist as well as everything else he did. And one day she took me around this, it was like a castle, it was huge. So we were walking around, and I started feeling quite down because I was looking around all of these rooms, and they're the most amazing crystals I have seen in my entire life. My goodness, the crystals were the rarest of crystals, the biggest of crystals. And it wasn't that her husband was loved crystals. He was a meteorologist, so he had a love for crystals, but he didn't understand what crystals were like me and you do as we work with them. I kind of felt really down as I walked around this whole house. And Howard sometimes was a bit, angry with life, and there was always this energy in the house where there was a little bit of fear, frustration in the house because Howard was very much about power and money and all that, and not the kind of as much loving as what one would hope. But Penelope was filled with love. But you imagine there's these two energies in the house at any given moment. So you could safely say that the house, there was a lot of negative energy. That's all I'm saying, okay? So I'm walking around the house and I'm feeling this energy of this huge place. I could feel, it was almost like I felt really down when I was near the crystals. And I said to Penelope, is it okay if I just touch one of those crystals? And she says, of course. So I went over, and it was a particular crystal which was an amethyst, but it was very unique in shape, and its points were huge, so it was a very old crystal. So this is where Howard's workplace was, okay? So where he was mainly is in this room. So I'm now in this room. The room feels really negative, really heavy. So I placed my hands on the crystal, and I must have been on that crystal for 15 to 20 minutes, just holding it, just touching it. Penelope had gone out of the room, and I was just touching this crystal. And when I'd finished, she came back in the room and she says, my goodness, what have you done? And I said, do you know, Penelope, I felt so sorry for this crystal because it felt like it was dead. And she says, what? I said, yeah, I just felt like I wanted to bring it back to life. I don't know why, but I placed my hands on it. And she went, well, the room feels very different. And I said, yeah, I feel different. I feel happier and better now. So I walked out of that room, and that day I left and I sat down by the sea and thought about that. And what sprung to mind is, I don't believe crystals can ever hold negative energy. I don't believe they absorb negative energy. I think the worst case scenario with crystals is that they work with high vibration. So if the love of the energy pours into it, it reawakens it, it brings it back to life. But the negative energy, I didn't feel in it. I didn't feel Howard's pain and suffering and anger and frustration. I felt nothing. The rest of the room felt like that, but I wanted to feel the crystal to see if that actually had negative energy. Did it absorb it? And I can tell you with my hand on my heart, that crystal did not have any negative energy. So from that day on, many years ago, I realized that crystals don't hold negative energy. All what happens with crystals is, even if they do or are with somebody or on somebody that is feeling negative, they just simply work and just get rid of it. I said to this lady I sent her a message saying, it's a bit like getting water which is very heavy and polluted and pouring it into something beautiful, and then whatever it is, like a crystal or something, you pour it into it, and then what comes out at the other end is pure. So the crystal clears it, but the crystal doesn't absorb, it just clears it. So that's my interpretation with crystals. Yes, people clear crystals. They do. I clear them. I work with them every day. And I put them into salt water. I put them into the sunlight. But my deep feeling is that I am never truly clearing the crystal of negative energy. All I'm doing is awakening it. I am just bringing it back to life. I'm re-energizing it. But I do not believe, with my hand on my heart, that I have ever held a crystal that I have said, wow, that's negative. Whoa, that's going to hurt somebody. That's going to cause suffering. That's had loads of bad energy in from somebody else. Sorry, I can't say that because I've never, ever felt that, ever. So that's my belief. A crystal can hold memory, yes, but only memory of its very same vibration, which is high. But it does not and never will ever hold bad energy and then release that bad energy on anybody else. It simply absorbs it, dispels it, and turns it into good energy. That, my dear friend, these are an amplifier for positive, beautiful love energy. So that's my belief. So when somebody's lying down having a healing session and they're feeling bad, I lay that on top of them, start the healing process work, bring that beautiful magical flow in, and then it just goes boom, and the good energy stays in there. The beautiful memory of that cleansing and clearing of that given moment stays in there. But the negative energy just dispels, so they get up and feel great, and then they take their crystal and walk away and feel that within the crystal from then on. So the worst case scenario with a crystal is that they're just left and then they kind of switch off. And you have to reboot them again, re-energize them again. So you hold them with good energy and send good energy into it, and thus it reawakens again. So that's my belief. Great question was asked today on social media. I don't know if I've answered it for you. And whether you believe that this or not does not matter. What matters is that if you feel that a crystal's got negative energy, then clean it, because that's what matters. Your feeling of what you do to the crystal is an extension of your energy that is put into the crystal. So regardless of what we all believe. A crystal is still a beautiful crystal, and let's continue cleaning them, and let's just work with them with love, because they are amazing. Have a lovely day, everybody, from my heart to yours, and from the Pure Energy Healing Academy. I love you all, and hope one day you come on a 4-day Pure Energy Healing Crystal course. That would be great. I'd love to see you. Thank you for subscribing to markbyeski.com. Have a lovely day. Bye, guys.